Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another box, another breakdown, and a demo. This is Doom Eternal for the PlayStation 4. Let's jump right into it. There was a pretty large update. This update size was 5.5 gigabytes big and will take you to version 1.02. At least that's what it says when you're downloading it, but when you look at the update history, it says 1.01. So it's whichever. Now, this game just came out, so expect that update to get bigger over time. So 5.5 gigabytes is just the beginning. Nextly, I played the entire game without updating it, and if you are someone who is having issues about starting it, and it keeps asking you to sign up with Bethesda's account system before you can even start the game, just disable your internet for your PlayStation 4, and you can bypass that Bethesda required account making. I do not understand why they made it required, as the game completely could run and function without making a Bethesda account. The only reason you would make a Bethesda account is to get the in-game items and rewards, sort of like more armors, different outfits, and so forth, cosmetic stuff for Doom Guy, as well as your weaponry. Nothing too crucial, and again, not actually on a disc. So, not really something I'd say you should worry about. Again, I do not understand why they made it a requirement, and I had to really rail on Bethesda about that, because I do not understand why they just didn't provide you ability to skip it. Now, as I said, I played the entire game on the highest difficulty on Nightmare, and Doom Eternal was an enjoyable experience. One thing they really focused on the experience was gameplay. The gameplay is very fluid, very fun, and very challenging. Now, I want to stress, though, that I have experienced a quite enormous amount of bugs playing Doom Eternal, many even game-breaking bugs. And there's also reports of many other people experiencing these bugs. I did notice that most of the bugs, when they really appear, is when you beat in the game, and then you go back and play, reselect levels. There's some serious bugs. I even had a bug where it was consistent, and I have looked into it. It's when you go to Orlok, or Heaven in the game. I know it's a minor spoiler, but the game would crash every single time you would start that level up. I recreated it several times, and there's people reporting the same problem. And I even updated it, the 5.5 gigabyte update, and it did not fix this problem. So we're still going to have to expect later updates to fix these game issues. I've had enemies getting stuck in the environment. I've had myself get stuck in the environment. I've had the game crash on me a few times here and there, and just other weird little hiccups and bugs here and there. At one point, when I was swimming, I could not get out of the water. It's littered with bugs, so expect that and be ready for that. Like I said, though, I did not experience many of them until after I beaten the game. Now, overall, the game was enjoyable. The game is fast, fluid, and very rewarding and challenging, especially if you play it on Nightmare difficulty like I did on my first go. There's many secrets and hidden items and so forth, and it's very rewarding to find them all. It's like almost pretty much a Metrovania first-person shooter style game, so really cool in that field. But the environment can get a little neat as well, but sometimes you can find yourself getting clip on or getting stuck on the environment. I'm surprised there wasn't a lot more polish in this, considering how fast and fluid the game is, but you'll find yourself getting stuck in an environment or a little piece of metal or a little rock, and it can really interrupt the flow of the game. Or even enemies will get stuck on you, or you get stuck on them, and I think they would have done a little bit better at polishing that out to prevent that. It kind of ruins the flow, because the game is supposed to have a very fast and fluid experience. Though I do want to stress, though, there's a lot of focus on fast and fluidness, so those who may not be able to experience or have the experience to be able to adapt and move really quickly might have a hard time with this game, as it's a little bit more aggressive and different compared to the Doom 2016. Now, environment traversal, there's got like a climbing ability, bar swinging, and so forth. Now, this part of the game is pretty neat, but near the end, it gets kind of repetitive, and it doesn't feel rewarding anymore. And there's nothing really that breaks up the experience, just other than just killing demons and then random environment traversal platforming. I wish there was something here and there, like a puzzle or a different game mechanic, like controlling a giant robot or something to break it up, to give a different experience somewhere. But overall, I had a great time with the game in terms of gameplay. My biggest gripe of the game is story. The game, a minor spoiler, I guess, but there's there's strong indication of it already, that this Doom Eternal links to the original Doom games from Doom 1, 2, and Doom 64. I felt this was unnecessary and just really ruined the experience in terms of story. I was looking for a new reboot to the series, introducing a new Doom guy, or Doom Slayer as I was hoping, but now they put them all together, and it made Doom guy and just the world of Doom Eternal less interesting to me. And now I just don't think Doom Slayer is as cool as he used to be. And there's even segments in the game that felt very cringy, where there was over, like, worshipping Doom Slayer, and just there's certain moments in the game that was just outright cringy. Like, when the Doom guy talks, I know, again, spoiler, but it's very cringy and just really poorly done in terms of story direction and character build. It was just badly done. And I think they spent so much time trying to focus on gameplay that they lost perspective of the rest of the experience in terms of story, characters, and environment. The environment is gorgeous, yes, but it doesn't really feel like they do anything with it. It's pretty to look at, but as you repeatedly do the same thing over and over and over, it all just kind of meshes. It doesn't really feel like a unique area anymore. It just feels like the same area, just different color now. I don't know how to explain it. It gets repetitive pretty quickly. But as I said, the experience was a lot of fun, but the story was a massive downgrade. I was really hoping for a reboot. That's what I thought Doom 2016 was meant to be, was a reboot the entire series and introduce Doom Slayer or Doom Guy, not to tie them in with the original Doom Guy. I felt this was disappointing and very poor choice in terms of narrative and story driven. But that's just my personal opinion. Lots of people seem to love it, and lots of fans seem to enjoy that it's tied to the original guy. I don't see why, but that's just me. But overall, Doom 2016 left me wanting more, while Doom Eternal, I'm pretty much satisfied. I don't really care to see another Doom game, to be honest, after this one, because the stories are interesting, the gameplay gets repetitive, unless they could really spoof up the story and actually add a lot more gameplay content. And as well as seeing Bethesda doing a lot of awful business practice, like making a required Bethesda account just to start up a single-player campaign. That's just ridiculous, and just outright just ruins the experience in a lot of ways. Because not just because of the game, but just how you can see a scummy business practice being utilized for such a popular game. I'm glad there's no microtransactions or anything like that. I'm glad they chose not to do that, but it's still Bethesda account required. That's just annoying. Now, I do believe I heard rumors there was going to be 2 giant DLC expansions or some forth, and maybe I'm not entirely sure, but I just want to bear that in mind. We may get another re-release down the road for like PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, so just keep that in mind if you wanted to get it now or want to wait later. To my opinion, I might as well just wait, because the game is great, but after you're done, and there's nothing really unique about this game, to be honest. The music's good and the gameplay is rewarding and fun, but overall experience left a shallow and hollow experience for me. It was fun, and I'll definitely come back and play the game, but to experience it and memorize it and fall in love with it again, I don't think I will. I think Doom 2016, in my personal opinion, was a more memorable and more funner experience overall. While Doom Eternal was an amazing gameplay experience, but everything else felt like empty. It felt like, it didn't feel has that immersion that I had from the Doom 2016. But that's my personal experience. That's up to you, and I hope that this video helped you out in terms of what you want to do and what you want to go. Now, I will leave links down in the description if you're interested in copy, and thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next unboxing video. Bye-bye!